Hey everyone, so I am really excited, and not just because I don't have to read boyfriends anymore, but that is a big part of it. I'm also excited because Kaiju No. 8 is getting an anime, and I'm putting all my money on the fact that that anime is going to be a fucking banger. Oh shit, did I just curse? It's not even 30 seconds into the video yet. Oh well! So yeah, some of you might have picked up Kaiju No. 8 from Free Comic Book Day. That's why I have this here, because that's how I was introduced to this series, as I saw it in Free Comic Book Day, and I was like, I feel like I've seen this before. I should actually go check out the series. So I did, and I'm fully caught up on the series. And since the anime is coming out, I felt like this would actually be the best time to do a full review on it. And as you can imagine from how I started off this video, yes, I actually really do like this series. It happens all the time whenever a new like shonen or teen anime gets really popular. Everyone's like recommending it to me, like, oh, you should check this out because it's really popular. But then I check it out and it's like, no. There's so many shonen anime out there that just kind of feel, I don't want to say babyish, but that's the only word that comes to mind. And out of all the newer stuff that is picking up popularity, Kaiju No. 8 has been one of my favorites. This is one that I can wholeheartedly recommend to people. Now, it's not to say that it's completely perfect. There are some bumps in the road when you're first reading it, and I could go on about some of the issues with pacing. In fact, I will go on, because I overanalyze everything. So in my opinion, the way that Kaiju No. 8 starts the series is very strong. We start by seeing the aftermath of a big kaiju fight, and we actually focus on the cleanup crew cleaning up after all of these dead kaiju parts. And that's how we meet our main character. He's actually one of the cleanup crew, and he's been doing it for years. Now, for a main character, this is actually a pretty, I mean, they call him old man throughout the whole series. He's not that old, he's in his 30s, but in perspective, that is a pretty old age for these types of shonen series. Usually they want to make the main character a teenager to connect with teenagers who will be reading this. I'm not really sure why they decided to make him older than other characters that he's fighting alongside with, but it is different and a tad daring. Now, this main character, his name is Kafka, he survived a kaiju fight with one of his friends, and they both promised after the incident that they would grow up to fight kaiju. But as it turns out, his friend, who is a girl, you know where that's going, right? His friend grew up and she reached her dream of leading a kaiju fighting unit in the military. However, here he is stuck on cleanup duty, cleaning up after the mess that they make. And I feel like, man, that's such a good way to start a series that's so interesting. Because you never really see the cleanup of the monsters after they're defeated. It's different. I like it. I know you're looking at me weird, but trust me, that's good writing right there. So obviously, a big part of Kafka's character is that he kind of gave up on his dream and has just been admiring his friend's success from afar. Until one day, you know, there's a new person on the cleanup crew, and that person is younger, much more full of energy, and he wants to one day join the kaiju fighting units. And, you know, speaking with this younger, full of energy guy kind of reignites that feeling in Kafka of, hey, maybe I can actually try to reach my dream again. Maybe it's not too late for me. And in the aftermath of them surviving another kaiju incident, they're in the hospital together. They're having a good heart-to-heart when all of a sudden this monster-like thing just inserts itself into Kafka's mouth and forcibly is digested, turning Kafka into a kaiju himself. Hence, yes, the cover. That's him. Now, this happens like mid-conversation in the hospital. This is like the point of the series where I was like, man, this is a really weird way to go about this. I mean, I knew that it was coming eventually. I just didn't know that it would be like mid-conversation as they're in the hospital. And this is kind of the point where the series like hits kind of a bump in the road where it's maybe not as good for a moment or two. They approach it like very comedically, which is to be expected, but the comedy kind of is outweighing the seriousness of the situation, which I was not a fan of. So naturally, because Kafka now looks like a monster, him and the teenager just kind of like run out of the hospital, scared that somebody's gonna see him and just try to kill him. Eventually, however, they, classic, they run into another kaiju. He is able to easily defeat that kaiju with his newfound kaiju strength, and afterwards he turns back into his human form and he realizes that he can go back and forth, although, he doesn't have complete full control out of it. What did I say? And so him and this teenager are applying together to try to get into the kaiju fighting unit. And obviously he has to keep a secret that he himself is now a kaiju. However, after you get past that bump in the road, the series really falls into place well. I feel like the writer actually got a good groove and kind of knew what they wanted to do with it. The fight scenes are killer, the character progression and growth is all falling into place, and it always feels like there's something happening. Every now and then you'll like pick up a new manga series and it feels like you'll go chapter after chapter after chapter, nothing's happening, it's just people blah 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 back and forth. This is not one of those series. It actually feels like progress gets made. Now, I do have a sneaking suspicion that the mangaka of Kaiju number 8 was maybe perhaps a tad inspired by Blue Exorcist, as I did see a couple of similar plot points. I don't really mind it that much, but it is hard to ignore when you're also a fan of Blue Exorcist and you're kind of seeing the same plot points being repeated. However, every now and then they also repeat the same plot point but then have some kind of twist, some kind of new way of showing it. One of the moments in particular that I thought was actually a pretty nice, wholesome twist to add on was when people eventually, of course, find out that Kafka is a kaiju. He expects, when he gets his phone back, he expects all the messages to be like, oh, you're a liar, oh, stay away from us, you monster. He's expecting the worst from all his friends who he did lie to, but instead he opens up the phone. It's all very supportive, like people texting him like, hey, are you okay? Is everything fine? I can't believe you were a kaiju this whole time, but goddamn, man, thanks for saving us. And it's all these wholesome messages, and it's a good scene where Kafka is just like crying because he's like, man, I can't believe I expected the worst of these people. They're amazing. And that's of course a different direction than what Blue Exorcist did when that happened. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed reading the fight scenes, so I just can't wait to see them animated. And I do think that this will be a pretty good anime. I like the series. I'd recommend other people checking it out. It's not even really that far into the series, so it won't take you so long to get caught up on it. It's only maybe 70 chapters right now. I mean, that's like child's play when you got people recommending One Piece to you and that's over 1,000 chapters. But yeah, check this series out. It's got pretty great characters. It is funny, but I think at this point in the series, they've done a better job at balancing out the comedy and the seriousness, and the action is killer. It's interesting. There's a whole plot behind it. I like it. If there are any other manga series that you would like me to check out, or perhaps a new anime that you would like me to check out, leave them down in the comments section below. And of course, if you are interested in some independent comics, you can join the fan club where I'll be posting my own comics there. And of course, I have a website where I'll be posting the finished comics. Look at graph. We gotta get it up there. And you can also join the mailing list for Now Hiring, which will be having a print campaign September 1st. So that's its whole thing. All links, of course, in the description. Oh, also, if you would like to join me and a few artist friends for a Friday drawing stream tomorrow, that should be a ton of fun. We're gonna be playing Scribble, so you can also join us in playing that if you'd like to try to shout out the answers in chat. But that's going to conclude the video for today. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you next time. Till then, bye!
Program restart.